implementation of this process will also be constituted. These committees will work diligently to develop improved security of tenure for land beneficiaries, whilst ensuring that the value of agricultural and urban state land value is fully unlocked to guarantee inclusive and nationwide economic development. Detailed terms of reference have been developed for the two committees. The government will put in place all the necessary institutional and logistical mechanisms to ensure the smooth coordination and implementation of these new policies and objectives. Accordingly, the government hereby forthwith issues an indefinite moratorium on the issuance of any new 99-year leases, offer letters, and permits for agricultural land. In conclusion, the government of Zimbabwe remains committed to jealously safeguarding the gains of our liberation struggle, including our precious land and everything beneath it. Never again will our land fall back into the hands of our colonizers. The utilization of this land will be guided by our time-tested mantra, nyika inovakwa nevene vayo, ilizwe lakiwa ngavanikazi valo. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for presenting the then tenure statement by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. Emerson Mnangagwa. We now move on to some highlights of today's cabinet. Over to you again, Honorable Minister.
The Minister of Industry and Commerce, Honorable N.M. Ndlovu, updated Cabinet on the status of prices and availability of basic commodities. This follows the Monetary Policy Committee's board resolutions on Friday, the 27th of September 2024, in response to the widening gap between the official and parallel exchange rates that caused the observed surge in ZiG-denominated prices during the period. The Ministry of Industry and Commerce conducted surveys of the prices and availability of basic commodities over the period 27 September to 4 October 2024. The ZiG prices of basic commodities in the formal retail outlets have increased in response to the adjustment of the local currency. However, the prices of the commodities in US dollar terms in both the formal and informal outlets have remained stable. Both the ZiG and US dollar prices are still on the higher side in the formal retail outlets, indicating an element of forward or speculative prices and benchmarking against the black market rates. Limited stock levels of cooking oil, mealie meal, bread, and sugar were observed in the formal outlets, while the products are readily available also in the informal sector. This is attributable to arbitrage, as informal retail economic agents seek to capitalize on exchange rate differentials, given the reported cases of hoarding in the formal sector for resale to informal outlets. It is also evident that most suppliers have reduced supplies to the formal sector and are channeling them to the informal sector. However, critical to note is the fact that there are no major shortages of basic commodities in the formal retail sector. Government of Zimbabwe would like to assure the citizenry of Zimbabwe that regular monitoring and stakeholder engagement to ensure market-relevant interventions will continue, and that a number of measures have been put in place in order to support the formal sector. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Over to you, colleagues. If there are any questions, observations from the presentation by the Honorable Minister? Emanating from today's cabinet. Any observations, questions? Yes.
Article Temple from the ZBC. With regards to the issue of pricing and availability of basic goods, are there any mechanisms which have been put in place to ensure that we don't go back to the 2008 era where commodities disappeared from the shelves?
Thank you very much. Any other question? Over to you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Abigail Temple. Honorable Ndlovu, the question is, are there mechanisms that have been put in place in order to guarantee the supply of goods and services across the entire country? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair of this session, and I want to thank Abigail for this question. Abigail, what I want to start with really is that the interventions that the monetary authorities introduced last week are a critical step towards ensuring that we work on a convergence between the formal exchange rate and the parallel market exchange rate, which generally becomes the cause of a number of problems we face in our economy. There are a number of interventions that the Central Bank announced following the Monetary Policy Committee meeting last week. Added to that is the increased support of the formal manufacturing sector by the Central Bank, where they are now increasing the foreign currency that is dispersed through the banks under the willing seller system, mainly to support the purchase, acquisition of raw materials, which are then supplying the formal sector in our economy. You realize that following that, there has been some stability when you look at what was obtaining in the market in the last 2 to 3 weeks. But from that intervention by the Central Bank, we have seen some stability that has crept in. And the supply of goods in general in the market has improved, it's still stable, and we continue to monitor. So I can assure you that as government, we will continue to monitor closely the developments and come up with the necessary interventions as and when necessary. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further questions or observations? Yes.
Okay, Abigail Temple from ZBC. Mine is related to the Minister of Agriculture with regards to the issue of land. Are there any mechanisms again in place to ensure that the land will be used productively? Because in the past we have seen some people getting land but not using it productively. So have you put in place anything to ensure that this land will be used?
Right. Any other questions?
Didn't discuss that.
Over to you, Minister.
Thank you, Abigail. Today we didn't discuss that subject at all. Thank you.
We seem to be satisfied with the minister's response. There are no further questions. Call it a day. We will meet again next week. Thank you very much.